Hi, this is Ray No for Core77. We're here at the headquarters of Eurekazone in Edison, New Jersey, where the founder, Dino Macropoulos, has invited Core77 to check out his new prototype, the EZ1 Powerbench. Now, before I show you the EZ1, I have to show you the backbone of the Eurekazone system, which is this aluminum extrusion, also called a guide rail. While there are other guide rails on the market, what differentiates Eurekazone's guide rail, in addition to its patent, is that you don't need to buy a complete line of Eurekazone products in order to play with the system. What Eurekazone has done is make it so that you could take any circular saw, including a saw that's been sitting in your basement for 50 years, attach their base to it, get the guide rail, and then you're good to go. So what we have here is a saw that's already got the base attached. And as you can see, you take the saw, place it onto the track, and now you're going to cut in a completely straight line. There's no danger that this is going to jump off the track or cut anything other than a perfectly dead straight line. So to demonstrate how to use the system, I'm just going to make two simple cuts in this piece of scrap wood. Now, you don't need to have this table set up. You could have one of these guide rails and balance it across two sawhorses or a table with a sacrificial top. Now, you use these clamps to hold your wood securely in place so that there's not any danger of kickbacks or accidents. To cut the wood, you simply line up the line that you want to cut with the edge of the guide rail, tighten the clamp, and now there's no danger this wood is going to go anywhere, and now I can make my cut. And then your cut's finished. So as you can see, the only components you really need to get started with this system is the guide rail, two clamps to hold your wood securely in place, the plastic anti-chip edge that goes into the guide rail and provides pressure at the point of the cut to prevent splintering or what's called tear out, and the base to attach your circular saw to. Now let's move on and take a look at the EZ1 Powerbench. So this is the EZ1 Powerbench, and these aluminum extrusions are basically the Lego blocks that Eurekazone uses to put this together. Before I get into the features, let's take a look at the frame to see what's different about this table. Now the first thing you'll notice is that these side extrusions are completely removable. This breaks down flat for storage, and it also gives you the option to move these around so that you can support different sized pieces of wood. For example, with this longer one, if you slide it this way, now you have more support on this side. If you need the support on the other side, you just slide it in the other direction. Okay, now if you take a look at the legs, since there's a channel running the length of this extrusion, that basically allows you to have an adjustable height shelf, so that if you'd like to put a shelf here to store vacuum or whatever tools you like, you can select the height that you put it at. Now the feet take advantage of the same groove in the extrusion. By loosening this, I can now adjust the height of the foot to account for any irregularities on the floor and make sure that the top is perfectly level. The height adjustability and self-leveling also extends to the top of the table, so that if I loosen these, I can now further fine-tune the adjustments. Okay, so now we've got the EZ1 Powerbench all put together, and we'll talk about some of the features. There are literally 1,000 different things you can do with this, but given the time we have, we're just going to focus on a few. The first and most important thing is probably the bridge. This is an extrusion just like the one we looked at in the beginning. The difference is that now it's mounted to the table in such a way that by pulling this lever, I can easily raise and lower it. This not only makes it convenient for me to slide the wood around in between cuts, but once I engage the bridge, it clamps the wood into a locked position, so I don't have to worry about the wood flying anywhere as I'm making my cut. The next thing you'll notice is that there's a tape measure aligned onto this extrusion. By zeroing this in with the saw blade, I can set this, tighten it, lock it into place, and now I can cut exactly to the dimension I need to without having to mark and measure the wood each time. For example, if I need to cut a piece of wood exactly 17 inches, once this piece is zeroed in, all I need to do is slide this moving stop to 17, lock it down, slide my wood up against the stop, and now I know I'm going to cut exactly 17 inches. There are two stops located here, and once these are locked down, it's perfectly square with this guide rail. So anytime I brace a piece of wood and make a cut, I know it's going to be exactly 90 degrees. Now that I've placed my wood against the stop, which is locked at 17 inches, I can cut a piece of wood in confidence that's exactly square and exactly 17 inches wide. Okay, and now I've got my piece that's exactly the dimension that I wanted to cut. These examples have been cutting larger boards. If I wanted to cut a smaller, narrow board, like this, there's another system of stops in place here. you want to do rip cuts, you simply slide this stop out, slide this smaller stop in, lock it into place. And the beauty of this system is that even though this piece of wood is actually warped, once I place it against these two stops and lock it into place with the bridge, it's not going to go anywhere and I can make my cut. So these are just a few of the things that you could do with the EZ1 Powerbench, but there are literally hundreds of possibilities with all of these extrusions and stops in place. If you take a look at Eurekazone's website, you'll see more ideas. I'm Rain Noah for Core77.